Hey, I'm Tanya, and I'm here to talk to you about a tried and true thing that you can use with a toddler when they're having a tantrum. What I mean by that is redirection, the gold standard. We all do it, right? You've got a kid in the middle of a tantrum and you try to distract them by redirecting them to something else. Or sometimes they're about to have a tantrum and you can quickly redirect them and avoid that tantrum. What a dream. What I want to talk about is the specific times when your child is actually in the middle of a tantrum and you redirect to their favorite thing, right? You as a parent are looking at this as what is the thing that's most likely to redirect my child to get them to forget about whatever it is they're upset about and get them to basically stop crying and move on. And so it makes sense that you as a parent would resort to their favorite thing, right? A lot of the times that's going to be tablets or phones because they're so easily entertaining because of all the options on them. But it could be a favorite toy. It could be something like dessert if you have, I don't know, cupcakes, zebra cakes, whatever it is these days that they're really into. Has this ever happened to you? Let me know in the comments below. I'm sure it has. I am a behavior analyst and I study behavior for a living. And I also help parents with their kids and managing their challenging behaviors, which of course tantrums is a huge part of. And what is interesting is that a lot of people don't know that if you provide your child with a highly preferred, so like favorite, whatever it is that they love, item or activity, when they're in the middle of a tantrum, it's actually going to maintain tantrums over time and may actually increase their intensity. Why? How? Huh? Let's get into it and I'll explain. The first thing you need to understand is reinforcement. People use that word all the time, but us as behavior analysts actually have a specific definition for it that helps us study behavior, understand it, and intervene on it. So it's important to understand that reinforcement is the presentation or removal of something that makes it more likely for a behavior to occur in the future. That's the definition of reinforcement. I'll give some examples. If it's raining and you use an umbrella, and that umbrella is effective at removing the rain on your hair, because who wants to mess up their hair? Then you are more likely to use an umbrella in the future when it rains, right? That's a basic example. Let's talk about toddlers now. If you give your toddler a cupcake when they share with their sibling, maybe they've shared their favorite doll, whatever it is, and you decide that you want to reward them for it. You're like, hey, look, I've got this cupcake left over. You get it because you did such a good job sharing. And then your toddler actually ends up sharing more often in the future. Then you know that this cupcake has reinforced their sharing behavior. Maybe you know this because every time they share in the future, they're like, do you have a cupcake or can I have a snack? They've kind of paired them together because they know they're going to get something, or at least they have in the past, so they're expecting it in the future. If you're potty training, which is a common one, a lot of parents have little treasure boxes, right? And so the toddler will get a toy out of the basket every time that they go to the bathroom because that's the parent's goal. Well, if every time they go, they get a toy and they keep going, right? The behavior keeps on occurring, then you know that that behavior has been reinforced by the toys. Because every time they go, they might ask for a toy, or they might look for it. So those are 3 basic examples. Do they make sense? Let me know down below. The main thing to understand is that the presentation or removal of something increases the likelihood of this happening. This can actually work backwards too. Sometimes parents try to discipline their child. Maybe they spank them, but that behavior keeps happening. So guess what? according to our definition, that behavior is still reinforced. Maybe it's not the spanking that reinforces it, but it's certainly not working to decrease it. So something is maintaining that behavior. We don't always know what reinforces it, but we know that if it keeps happening, it's being reinforced. And so my job is to come in and figure out what's reinforcing it so we can get rid of it if we want the behavior to go away. So let's go back to my story about the toddler, the tantrum, the tablet. If you have a toddler who is throwing a tantrum and you provide that toddler with their favorite thing, right? So let's say for this toddler, it was a tablet. Then you're going to teach your child that if they're in the middle of a tantrum, they get the tablet. They might get it at other times, which is great. But if they're getting it during a tantrum, they may start to expect it. And if you have a toddler, which happens a lot sometimes when they're younger, their communication isn't very strong and they don't know how to let you know what they need or what they want, they may learn that throwing a tantrum is an effective way to get that tablet. I've seen this happen. You tell your kid they can't have the tablet. They've been on it for a couple of hours. It's not happening. So you put it away and your toddler's upset about it, and progressively their tantrum gets worse and worse and worse. And then you say, fine, it's just not worth it. And then you give them the tablet. You're teaching them that that tantrum is an effective way for them to get that tablet. So you've just made their tantrums more likely to happen in the future when they want that tablet. And if you gave them that tablet when they're at like the peak of the tantrum, they may also learn that like, oh, this is how bad my tantrum needs to get before I can have the tablet. So next time they may not start at like a quieter tantrum or just like, just kind of like hitting things a little bit and then slowly getting worse. They may just go straight to that level next time, which is how you sometimes get toddlers who will be perfectly fine 1 minute and then the next they're screaming at the top of their lungs. Worked with a lot of these. I know it happens. I'm so sorry if it does. That's why I'm doing this. If you understand what may be maintaining it, then you can stop doing it and hopefully get rid of it. So let's talk about what you can do instead. There is something you can do, thank goodness. And what I teach parents is to understand what their child's loves are, what their favorite things are. Highly preferred, right? I don't know. For me, it's cupcakes or cookies or my phone. But for your toddler, a lot of the times it's going to be tablets, a phone, maybe a favorite TV show or a favorite movie, maybe a favorite toy, and avoid providing those when they're in the middle of a tantrum. Now, if they've had a tantrum and they've calmed down and they've been, maybe coloring nicely for a few minutes, absolutely give them that love. Give them the thing that they love. They've engaged in appropriate behavior, so they should obviously get something that they like or love. The reason why I'm correcting myself is because the point is when they are in a tantrum, you can redirect them to something they like. So this is what we call a moderately preferred toy or activity. So it's not something that they want all the time, they find super, super motivating, but something that they will tolerate doing but maybe don't love. A lot of the times that's going to be coloring or puzzles or Play-Doh, unless of course those are their favorites. But those are activities that you can easily redirect them to if they're having a tantrum, so right in the middle of it, that will at least help them calm down. And then once they've calmed down, you can move on to something else. It's going to help tremendously. And at first it's going to be difficult, right? Because if for a while you have been providing that highly preferred item and then all of a sudden you're not, you're only giving them things that they sort of kind of like and don't mind doing, it's going to be a little bit of a trial for you. I'm so sorry. But it's a habit you've made, right? So you've got to break that habit. It's going to take a little while to teach them, like, no, this is what we can do right now. And what can help as well, pro tip, is play with it yourself. They're going to be in the throes of it all, maybe on the floor, maybe kicking and screaming. Take out that Play-Doh. Take out the shapes. If they have a sibling, start doing it with them. Make a big deal out of it. A lot of the times that's enough to get them out of it because they feel like they're being left out of something and they want in on it. Don't talk about their tantrum. Don't talk about what happened. You can wait until they've recovered and then talk about it. But while they're still kind of coming off that tantrum, I wouldn't touch it. Just let them get over it first. And then you can talk about it at a later date if you need to, or a later time. What are some things that your toddler loves or likes? I'd love to hear about it down below. Sometimes I like to hear about different things because I can offer it to the clients that I do work with, Parents helping parents. We love it. Thanks for watching. My hope is that by helping you understand your toddler's behavior, you can have more peaceful parenting. Focus on the things that you really care about, that quality time with your family, really enjoying your time with your kids instead of being upset and having to yell and dealing with a lot of difficult behaviors. My goal is to help you avoid those things, have more good times, and enjoy your family time. Thank you for watching. You can subscribe if you'd like to watch more videos on difficult behaviors. I'll be putting more of those out in the coming weeks. And I've also got my Ultimate Toddler Tantrum Toolkit linked down below. It's free. Just grab it. No big deal. It's got different information on there on other things that may be maintaining tantrums, things that you can do to help with tantrums besides these tips that I gave today. And I hear that it's very helpful, at least from the parents that have used it. So check it out down below again, and I'll catch you next time.